in relation to the skilled independent, so yes, it does include dependents, and it does include the New Zealand stream. Important to note, though, with the New Zealand stream, only people who have resided in Australia prior to February 2016 are eligible.
Okay.
So that's the key point there. So the allocation is, as you say, 18,652. Obviously, there's been quite substantial increases in the employer nominated categories, and also the state and territory nominated categories. So that's the first one.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Now, in relation to your second question, we do obviously have high demand for Australian visas and permanent residents, which is a positive thing, because we obviously want to attract the very high quality applicants.
Yeah.
And we are fortunate that we get very high quality applicants, and we do obviously have an emphasis on the skills within the program, as you know, and that's good for the Australian economy. And we've seen so many highly skilled migrants from China and from other nations that have added so much to the economy. The occupational ceilings are important because they ensure that the program's well balanced and meets a range of occupation needs across the economy. And as I said, there are quite substantial increases in the state and territory nominated point system in 2019-20. Now, in relation to number 3, they will the regional provisional visas have a validity period of 5 years, and people can apply for PR after 3 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so basically they have to stay in regional Australia for 3 years, and the visa is relevant for 5. Mm-hmm. Bearing in mind, of course, that regional Australia is a broad definition, so it's anywhere except Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Gold Coast and Perth, and people can move around within regional Australia. So they could go from Adelaide to Hobart to Cairns.
Yeah.
They don't have to stay in just the one spot.
That's good to know.
Yeah. Just on number 4, yes, the current 489 will be replaced by the new skilled work regional provisional visa. People can continue to apply for the subclass 489 until the new visa comes in. And the migration places for the subclass 489 visa are made available from the regional allocation. On question 5, as I said before, so basically people need to have lived and worked in regional Australia for 3 years. And the subclass 887 visa is replaced by a new permanent residence visa in 2022, which is effectively after the initial 3-year period concludes.
Okay.
So number 6, the subclass 190 visa continues. States and territories, as you know, have their own unique requirements and preferences for the subclass 190 nomination process, and that's a matter for each of those states and territories. On occupational ceilings, they'll be set in the coming months, and as I said before, it's about having a well-balanced skilled program that isn't too sharply focused in one area, but meets a range of needs across the economy. Now, in terms of the migration program 1920, so that will operate obviously in the financial year, 1st of July until the 30th of June. The 2 new regional visas will commence in November. So in November 2009, you'll have the 19 rather. You have the skilled employer sponsored regional provisional visa, and the skilled work regional provisional visa, and that's the one that's state and territory nominated or sponsored by an eligible family member. So that's from November. Just in terms of question 9, there's no impact on student visas. So if people hold a visa, then there's no impact. In relation to the 23,000 places, so this is question 10. So there's 9,000 places set aside for employer-sponsored regional visas, and those can be from any particular region in Australia, and they're filled by employer demand. So, for instance, an employer from Adelaide or from Canberra or from rural WA or wherever can be within those 9,000, and it's really up to the employers as to who obtains those 9,000 places, but it can be anywhere within regional Australia. Now, with the 14,000 state and territory nominated visas, the Commonwealth is working with the states and territories on those, and we obviously are looking at the requests from the different states and territories.
Yeah.
You can expect that some states, like South Australia, for instance, will be requesting a significant increase in the number of skilled migrants that they receive, and will be making those allocations public in terms of the allocation to each state in the coming months. We haven't specified the allocation for each state as yet.
Okay.
Now, on number 11, about congestion, we think that this will have a significant impact, because if someone spends 3 years in regional Australia, then obviously they're going to be connected to that community, and much more likely to remain in regional Australia. And the 2016 census showed that about 80% of migrants who arrived between 2006 and 2011 and who were outside of the big four cities in 2011 were also outside those big four cities in 2016. So what that suggests is when people put down roots in a regional community, they tend to stay. And the provisional nature of the new regional visas means that people have a strong incentive to stay in the regions for at least 3 years. And once someone has stayed for 3 years, they're obviously going to have a lot of close connections to that region. And we expect that the vast majority of those people will then continue to stay in regional Australia.
Understood.
Yeah. Now, in terms of number 12, we've factored in a ceiling at 160,000 for the next 4 years. So the budget has 160,000 for each of the next 4 years. The budget cycle is a 4-year period generally. So that's what we've put in for each of the next 4 years. And then in terms of your last question, well, look, no, absolutely not. We're very much welcome migration. Australia's success has been built in no small part on immigration. We are a very successful migrant nation, and with the exception of Indigenous Australians, we're all immigrants. All that varies is the time frame. And one of our great strengths is that we welcome people from all parts of the world, regardless of their cultural background or regardless of their nation or religion or any of those issues. We welcome people based on what they bring to our country, and we will continue to do that. And by putting in place the cap of 160,000, we're effectively saying, well, let's pause the number for a number of years, and also let's seek to ensure that the program delivers the skilled migration that's required in regional Australia, because it's not like the needs are the same in every part of Australia. They vary significantly, and we want the program to really seek to meet those needs, especially in places like South Australia and Tasmania that are looking for significantly more migration. And we're also recognising that there are significant congestion pressures in Sydney and Melbourne in particular, and so this is about a better balance in the program and maintaining a strong emphasis on skilled migration. The other point to make is that the family program is unaffected. So in 2017-18, there were 48,000 family places, and in 2019-20, there will also be 48,000 family places.
Great.
So there's no change to the family program. In terms of international students, you will have seen the regional incentive where if people study in regional Australia and work in regional Australia, they can obtain an additional year on their work rights. But of course, there's no requirement for people to go to regional Australia for study. It's only if they choose to do so.
Yeah.
If people choose to study in the cities, that is still there is no restriction on that. Nothing has changed.
Yeah.
But there is an incentive to go regional.